They didn't say it in a moment of rage. They didn't say it while crying, or panicking, or apologizing afterward. They said it the way people say a rule they've always believed was true. You're not family if you don't pay. It happened in a group chat, of all places. A little gray bubble that looked harmless until it didn't. And the worst part wasn't the sentence itself. It was how fast everyone else reacted, like it made sense. Like love had always been conditional and I was the one who'd forgotten the terms. So when I refused to fund their vacation, it didn't just start a fight. It exposed what my role in the family had been for years. Not son. Not nephew. Not cousin. Sponsor. I'm 32 now. I have a decent job, a decent apartment, a decent life. Not flashy, not tragic, not the kind of story people stop scrolling for. But I grew up in a family where decent was treated like a moral obligation. If you had more, you were supposed to give more. If you didn't, you were allowed to be bitter about it. My mom used to call it sticking together. What she really meant was, whoever becomes stable gets leaned on until they crack. I didn't understand that when I was younger. When you're a kid, you think your family's rules are just gravity. You don't ask why the sky is up. My dad left when I was 10. Not in a dramatic, screaming match way. Just a slow fade. Missed weekends. Late child support. Then nothing. My mom survived by becoming the kind of person who could stretch a dollar until it screamed. She worked 2 jobs, cooked everything from scratch, and somehow managed to be both exhausted and proud at the same time. We lived near my Aunt Linda and Uncle Ray, and that's where the other gravity came from. They were loud. They were broke. They were always having a crisis that required an audience. Uncle Ray was the kind of guy who could lose money in ways I didn't even understand. He'd get into business opportunities. He'd buy things he couldn't afford because he wanted to look like he could. Aunt Linda was worse, because she was organized about it. She didn't stumble into financial problems. She built a lifestyle out of expecting other people to cover the gaps. They had 2 kids, my cousins. One of them, Maya, is the one who matters in this story. Maya grew up watching her parents demand things and then call it family. She learned the language early. The tone. The way you can make someone feel selfish for wanting peace. I was 21 the first time I became useful. Mom's car died in the middle of a winter that felt personal. She was crying at the kitchen table, hands around a mug of coffee like it was the only warm thing left in her life. I don't know what we're going to do, she said, voice cracking. I had some savings from working part-time and scholarships. Not much. But enough. I'll help, I said. Mom's shoulders sagged in relief so intense it scared me. That's what nobody tells you about being the responsible one. The first time you fix something, the room changes. People start looking at you like you're a solution. Aunt Linda found out within a day. She called me, voice sweet. Honey, your mom told me what you did. That was so mature. So responsible. I didn't like the way she said responsible. Like it was a trait she could harvest. Then she sighed dramatically. Ray's truck is having issues, she said. We're just stressed. You know how it is. I didn't offer anything. There was a pause. A small one. The kind that exists so you can fill it with your own guilt. When I didn't, Linda continued anyway. I'm not asking, of course, she said. I'd never put that on you. You're just starting out. She hung up 5 minutes later. And I remember thinking, okay. That was fine. Then Uncle Ray texted me the next morning with a photo of a mechanic estimate and a single line. Anything helps. Family sticks together. That was the first time I learned another rule. They don't ask once. They ask until you pay. At first, it was small stuff. $100 for a phone bill. 204. Groceries. A loan for a kid's school trip that never came back. Every time, there was a story. A reason. A promise. And always, some version of "You're lucky you can." It sounded like a compliment. It was a leash. When I got my first real job, it escalated. It wasn't immediate. They eased into it the way a spider eases a thread around something that doesn't realize it's being wrapped. Aunt Linda would say things like, "You know, your mom worries about money. You could help her more." Then it became, "Your mom deserves nice things. She sacrificed so much for you." Then it became, "Family needs you." Need. Not want. Need makes it urgent. Need makes you selfish if you say no. I started paying certain things automatically because it felt easier than fighting. Mom's internet. Her phone. Sometimes her rent if the month was tight. Then Linda talked her way into our family plan for streaming services. Maya got added, just for a month. Ray's phone line got thrown in, temporarily. I told myself it wasn't a big deal. It was just money. That's the lie you tell yourself when you want to believe people love you for more than what you provide. The first time I tried to set a boundary, I did it gently. I was at my mom's place. Linda and Ray were there too, because they are always there when there's food. Linda was telling a story about how hard this year has been, while eating the lasagna my mom made. Maya was on her phone, taking pictures of the table like we were living some cozy family fantasy. She posted them with captions like "Sunday dinners with my favorite people." Uncle Ray leaned back in his chair and said, "So, Ethan, you still got that good job?" I knew where it was going. "It's fine," I said. "Busy." "Busy's good," he said, smiling. "Busy means money." I stared at him. "That's not how it works." Linda laughed like I'd told a joke. "Oh, don't be dramatic." Ray leaned forward, voice lowering like he was sharing advice. "Listen. We're not asking you to do everything. Just, help out. You know. A little." A little, from Ray meant, until I stop asking. I took a breath. "I'm already helping. But I can't keep covering extra stuff." Linda's fork paused midair. The room did something subtle. Like the air tightened. "What extra stuff?" she asked, voice polite. Too polite. "The phone lines," I said. "The subscriptions. The random expenses." Linda's eyes flicked to my mom. Mom looked down at her plate. Linda set her fork down carefully. "Ethan," she said, "we're family." "I know," I replied. "That's why I've been helping." "And now you're counting," she said softly, like that was the ugliest thing she could accuse me of. I felt heat creep into my face. "It's not counting. It's budget." Uncle Ray snorted. "Budget. Must be nice." Maya didn't look up. She just said, "Wow," under her breath, like I'd insulted someone. My mom finally spoke. "Honey, maybe this isn't the time." That phrase again. "Not now. Not today. Not here." I swallowed my boundary and ate lasagna like nothing was wrong. That was my mistake. Every time you swallow a boundary, you teach people how to treat you. By the time the vacation came up, I should have seen it for what it was. A test. A power play. A way to remind me where I belonged in the hierarchy, at the bottom, holding the wallet. It started in the group chat, the one with too many relatives who only talk when there's drama. Linda, big news. Family vacation this summer. Maya, OMG YESSSS, we need this. Ray, about time. We deserve it. Mom, that sounds nice, where? Linda, I found the perfect place. All inclusive. Beachfront. Everyone together. Like June always wanted. June is my grandmother. She's still alive, but Linda loves using her like a moral weapon. I watched the messages scroll and felt that familiar dread. The sense that something was being decided around me. Then Linda posted a link. It was one of those resort packages that looks affordable until you click and realize it's per person, per night, plus flights, plus fees, plus optional upgrades that suddenly become non-optional. Maya immediately wrote. Maya, I want the ocean view room. Of course she did. My mom wrote. Mom, that's a lot. Linda replied. Linda, don't worry. We'll make it work. Family always does. I stared at that heart emoji like it was a threat. Then Linda tagged me. Linda, Ethan, you're in, right? This would mean so much. We haven't had everyone together in forever. I didn't respond right away. Not because I didn't know what to say. Because I knew exactly what I wanted to say, and I could already hear the backlash. Jordan, my partner, was on the couch beside me, half watching TV. They looked over at my face. What now? Jordan asked. I handed them my phone. Jordan read the chat, then looked at me like I'd handed them a bomb. They're doing it again, Jordan said. It's worse, I replied. They're doing it in front of everyone. Jordan leaned closer. Are you paying? The fact that it was even a question made my stomach twist. I'm not, I said. Jordan nodded once. Then say it. I stared at the chat. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. My heart did that old thing where it tries to convince you that boundaries are cruelty. Then Linda sent another message. Linda, also, we should decide who's covering what so we can book. I can handle planning, but we need commitments. Commitments. They were already talking like money was on the table and the only question was how to divide it. Maya chimed in. Maya, Ethan, you're literally the only one who can make this happen. There it was. Not a request. A statement of my function. My jaw clenched. I started typing. Me, I'm not funding this. If you want to go, you'll need to pay your own way. The typing bubble disappeared. Reappeared. Disappeared again. I could feel my pulse in my throat. Then Linda replied. Linda, excuse me. Ray replied right after. Ray, what the hell is that supposed to mean? Maya wrote. Maya, wow. Okay. My mom's message came next, and it hit like a punch because it wasn't angry. It was afraid. Mom, Ethan, maybe we can talk about this privately. And then Linda dropped the line that changed everything. Linda, if you don't help, you're not family. Family supports family. That's how it works. Ray added. Ray, yeah. If you won't contribute, don't come. Don't show up and pretend. You're either in or you're out. I stared at the screen. Jordan watched my face. Say it out loud, Jordan said quietly. Read it. I swallowed. They said I'm not family if I don't pay. Jordan's expression hardened. Okay. Then you know what to do. I did. But knowing and doing are different things when the people doing the hurting share your blood. I set my phone down, hands shaking, and I realized something terrifying. If I said no now, I wasn't just refusing a vacation. I was refusing the entire system that had been built around my compliance. And systems don't collapse politely. The silence after I set my phone down was worse than the messages. It wasn't peaceful silence. It was the kind that feels like standing in front of an oncoming train, knowing it hasn't hit yet. Jordan waited. I didn't pick the phone back up. That was my second mistake. Because when you don't immediately submit, entitled people don't pause. They organize. The next morning, my mom called. She didn't start angry. She never does. She started tired. Ethan, she said softly, like she was afraid of spooking me. Why would you say something like that in the group chat? Because that's where they demanded it, I replied. She sighed. They didn't demand. They were just, assuming. Exactly, I said. That's the problem. A pause. You know Linda, my mom said. She gets carried away. And Ray? I asked. Another pause. Longer this time. He didn't mean it the way it sounded. Mom, I said, keeping my voice steady, they told me I'm not family if I don't pay. She inhaled sharply, like hearing it out loud hurt her more than pretending it hadn't happened. They're stressed, she said. This year has been hard on everyone. It's been hard on me too, I replied. But you're okay, she said quickly. You're stable. There it was. Stable meant expendable. I'm stable because I'm careful, I said. Not because I exist to cover everyone else. She didn't argue. She didn't agree either. She just said, can we please not do this right now? I ended the call before I said something I couldn't take back. By lunchtime, the group chat was alive again. But now it wasn't about the vacation. It was about me. Linda, I can't believe this is happening. After everything we've done. Ray, ungrateful. That's what this is. Maya, money really changes people. Jordan read over my shoulder and snorted. Ah yes. The character assassination phase. They weren't wrong. This is how it works when you stop paying. First they question your decision. Then they question your character. I typed once. Deleted it. Typed again. Deleted that too. Then Maya posted a screenshot. Not of anything I'd said. Of a luxury ad for the resort. Maya, imagine missing out on memories because someone wants to set boundaries. I felt something twist in my chest. Not guilt. Betrayal. Because this wasn't private anymore. They were recruiting the audience. Cousins chimed in with vague comments. An uncle added a thumbs down emoji. Someone wrote, family is all we have. Jordan took my phone gently out of my hands. You don't owe them a defense, they said. You owe yourself clarity. I know, I said. But it still feels like I'm blowing everything up. Jordan met my eyes. They already did. You're just refusing to hold the pieces. That evening, Linda showed up at my apartment. Unannounced. She always does that when she thinks she's losing control. I opened the door and immediately regretted it. She stood there with that practiced expression of concern, purse clutched tight, lips pressed together like she was about to cry for effect. Can I come in? She asked. No, I said. She blinked. Excuse me. We can talk here, I replied. Her eyes flicked down the hallway behind me, checking for Jordan. Is your friend home? She asked. My partner is, I said. And no, this isn't a private conversation. Her jaw tightened. I don't know why you're being so hostile. I'm not, I said. I'm being clear. She stepped closer anyway. You embarrassed me in front of the family. You threatened my place in it, I replied. She scoffed. Oh, don't be dramatic. No one threatened you. You said I'm not family if I don't pay. Linda's eyes hardened. And you twisted that. I quoted you. She exhaled sharply, then shifted tactics. You know Maya's been having a hard time, she said. She needs something to look forward to. I stared at her. So do I. Linda frowned. This trip would be good for everyone. At my expense. Well, she said, lifting her chin, you can afford it. There it was again. Not will you. Not do you want to. Can you? I felt my hands curl into fists at my sides. Linda, I said, I'm done funding things I'm not invited to say no to. She laughed, sharp and incredulous. You sound ridiculous. Then leave. She froze. Ethan. Leave, I repeated. Her face flushed red. You think you're better than us now? No, I said. I think I'm done being used. She took a step back, eyes flashing. If you do this, don't expect anyone to be there for you. I met her gaze. You haven't been. You've just been here for my wallet. Her mouth fell open. She turned and stormed down the hall, heels clicking like punctuation. Jordan closed the door behind her and locked it. That went well, they said dryly. I sat down hard on the couch, heart racing. I think I just cut myself off from my entire family, I said. Jordan sat beside me. No. You stopped paying for access. The next few days were chaos. Ray left me 3 voicemails. Each worse than the last. First one, call me. We need to talk like adults. Second, you're making a huge mistake. Third, if you don't fix this, don't bother calling us again. Maya blocked me on social media, then unblocked me just long enough to send a message. Maya, I hope you're happy. Mom's devastated. I stared at the message. I thought about the times I'd covered her rent. Paid for her phone. Bought gifts for her kids so she could post them online. I didn't respond. Instead, I did something small. I removed my card from the family streaming accounts. Within an hour, my mom texted. Mom, did something happen with Netflix? I felt sick. Not because I'd done something wrong. Because I'd never realized how deeply my support was woven into their daily lives. Jordan watched me stare at the screen. Do you want to stop? They asked gently. I shook my head. No, I said. I want to finish. That night, I opened my banking app and made a list. Phone plans. Subscriptions. Monthly transfers labeled temporary help. Emergency fund requests that were never emergencies. It wasn't dramatic. It was methodical. I canceled or removed myself from everything. Not as punishment. As reality. The next morning, my phone exploded. Missed calls. Texts. Voice notes full of panic and anger. Ray, what did you do? Linda, this is cruel. Mom, please tell me this is temporary. I turned my phone face down. Because for the first time, I saw the truth clearly. They weren't upset about the vacation anymore. They were panicking because the money had stopped everywhere. And if I backed down now, I would never escape. That's when Ray crossed the final line. He showed up at my door. This time, he was angry. And he didn't come alone. I knew it was Ray before I even looked through the peephole. He doesn't knock. He pounds, like doors are things that owe him access. Jordan stood up immediately. Do you want me to call someone? Not yet, I said. My voice surprised me. It was steady. Flat. Ray was flanked by Linda and my mom. Of course he was. Because confrontation is easier when you bring witnesses who can be weaponized. I opened the door just enough to stand in the frame. Ray didn't waste time. What the hell do you think you're doing? He barked, jabbing a finger toward my chest. Stop, I said. You're not coming in. He scoffed. You don't get to shut us out after everything we've done for you. I felt something click into place. Not anger. Not fear. Recognition. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was ownership. Say what you need to say from there, I replied. Linda folded her arms. You've gone too far, Ethan. My mom's eyes were red. She looked smaller than usual, like she'd been worn down by days of crying. "Please," she said. "Can we just talk like a family?" Ray laughed. "He doesn't want to talk. He wants to punish us." "No," I said. "I want this to stop." Ray leaned closer, ignoring the invisible line. "You don't get to decide that. Family isn't something you can turn off because you're in a mood." I met his stare. "You already decided it. You said I'm not family if I don't pay." Linda opened her mouth. "That's not what it is," I cut in. "And I believed you." Silence fell. Not because they were shocked. Because they didn't like hearing their words reflected back without cushioning. Ray's voice dropped, dangerous. "You think you're going to be okay without us?" "I already am," I said. That's when he lost it. "You're selfish," he snapped. "You grew up on handouts and now you want to pretend you did everything alone." My chest tightened. "Name one handout I took from you." He hesitated. Linda jumped in. "Your mother raised you. She sacrificed everything. And I've been paying for that sacrifice ever since," I replied. "Emotionally and financially." My mom flinched. "That's not fair." "It is," I said softly. "It's just uncomfortable." Ray sneered. "So this is it? You're cutting us off because of a stupid trip?" I shook my head. "This was never about the trip." Linda's eyes narrowed. "Then what is it about?" I took a breath. And for the first time, I didn't soften the truth to keep the peace. "It's about the fact that every time I say no, you threaten to take my family away. It's about the fact that my value to you drops the moment my money does. It's about the fact that you don't ask, you assume. And when I don't comply, you humiliate me." Ray scoffed. "You're exaggerating." "I'm not," I said. "I have receipts." That got their attention. I stepped back and picked up the folder Jordan had helped me put together the night before. Printed statements. Dates. Notes. I held it up. "Here's what I've paid over the last 3 years," I said. Phones. Rent. Insurance. Subscriptions. Cash transfers labeled temporary that never came back. Linda stared at the folder like it was a weapon. Ray laughed nervously. "So what? You helped. Big deal." "Help is voluntary," I replied. "This wasn't." My mom whispered, "Ethan." "I know," I said, turning to her. "You wanted peace. I gave it. I paid for it. And it still wasn't enough." Her face crumpled. Ray took a step forward again. "You don't get to walk away from blood." I finally raised my voice. "You walked away from me the second I stopped being useful." The words hung in the air, heavy and final. Linda's face twisted. "You're going to regret this." "Maybe," I said. "But not like I've been regretting staying." Ray's jaw clenched. "If you do this, don't expect us to help you when you fall." I nodded. "I don't." That's when Linda snapped. She lunged for the folder. I pulled it back instinctively. "Give me that," she hissed. "You don't get to rewrite history." "This is history," I replied. "Written in numbers you recognize." Jordan stepped beside me, voice calm but firm. "You need to leave." Ray glared at them. "This doesn't concern you." Jordan didn't blink. "It concerns anyone who lives here." My mom started crying openly now. "Please. Please don't do this. We're all each other has." I looked at her and felt the old pull. The instinct to fix. To pay. To smooth it over. And then I remembered the group chat. The sentence that cut everything open. "You're not family if you don't pay." I swallowed. "You already made the rule," I said quietly. I'm just following it. Ray cursed under his breath. Linda's voice turned cold. If you walk away, you're dead to us. I met her eyes. Then stop calling. Ray shoved his hands into his pockets and laughed harshly. You'll come crawling back. I shook my head. No. You will. And I won't answer. I closed the door. Locked it. And for the first time, I didn't reopen it when someone knocked again. The knocking didn't stop right away. It softened. Changed rhythm. Became pleading instead of pounding. Ethan, my mom's voice came through the door, thin and cracking. Please. I leaned my forehead against the wood and closed my eyes. Jordan stood behind me, silent, letting me decide. Every part of me that had been trained to fix things screamed to open the door. To explain better. To compromise. To offer something small so everyone could calm down. That part of me had almost ruined my life. I can't, I said, loud enough for her to hear. Not like this. There was a long pause. Then footsteps. 3 sets. Walking away. The aftermath wasn't dramatic in the way movies make it look. No sudden freedom montage. No instant peace. It was quiet. Too quiet. The next few days felt unreal, like my brain hadn't caught up to what my body had already decided. I kept checking my phone, expecting another explosion. Instead, there was a different kind of noise. Silence punctured by small, desperate attempts. A text from my mom. Mom, I don't understand why you're doing this. A voicemail from Ray that started angry and ended confused. A message from Linda that was so carefully worded it made my skin crawl. Linda, we can talk when you're ready to be reasonable. I didn't reply to any of them. Not because I wanted to hurt them. Because every response I'd ever given had been used as a foothold. So I did something that felt both cruel and merciful. I blocked them. All of them. Group chat. Direct messages. Social media. I even changed my number a week later, after Ray tried calling from an unknown one. Jordan watched me do it, one contact at a time. How do you feel? They asked. I searched for the right word. Empty, I said. And lighter. The fallout came in waves. Extended family members reached out, some cautiously, some accusatory. An aunt I barely spoke to messaged, your mother is heartbroken. A cousin wrote, you really tore the family apart. I typed responses and deleted them all. Eventually, I sent one message. The same message. Copy-paste. I'm not discussing this. Please respect my decision. Most didn't. But a few did. And that told me everything I needed to know. The practical changes were immediate. My bank account stopped bleeding money in directions I'd never consciously approved. My anxiety dropped in ways I hadn't expected. I slept through the night for the first time in years without waking up thinking I'd forgotten to fix something. Jordan noticed it before I did. You don't flinch when your phone buzzes anymore, they said one evening. I realized they were right. The dread was gone. What replaced it wasn't happiness. It was space. And in that space, grief showed up. I grieved the family I thought I had. The one that would show up without invoices. The one that would ask instead of assume. The one that wouldn't threaten love to enforce obedience. Therapy helped. Not because the therapist told me I was right. But because she helped me see the pattern clearly. Conditional belonging is not belonging, she said during one session. It's a transaction. That sentence stayed with me. A month later, I found out the vacation never happened. Maya posted a vague rant about fake people and learning who's really there for you. Linda told relatives I'd abandoned the family. Ray, apparently, tried to organize something cheaper and failed. Without my money, the system collapsed. Not slowly. Immediately. And that's when the final wave hit. The messages came back, this time softer. Apologies that weren't apologies. Offers to start fresh. Promises to do better. My mom sent one last message through an email account I'd forgotten to block. Mom, I miss you. Can we just talk? No money. Just us. I stared at the screen for a long time. Jordan didn't rush me. I typed a reply. Then erased it. Typed another. Erased that too. Finally, I wrote the truth. I love you. But I won't be part of a family where love disappears when money does. I need distance. Please don't contact me again. I blocked the email. I cried afterward. Harder than I expected. Not because I doubted my decision. But because accepting reality hurts more than denial ever did. It's been almost a year now. I still think about them sometimes. Not with anger. With clarity. I understand now that what they called family was a system built around access. And when I revoked that access, the system treated me like a defect. That doesn't make them monsters. It makes them people who never learned to love without taking. And it makes me someone who finally learned to stop giving until there was nothing left. I used to think walking away meant I was alone. Now I know it meant I stopped being owned. Because if your place in a family depends on how much you pay, then it was never a family. It was a bill.